Let's start from the beginning. You know,
Okay.
tell us about where you started and how you got interested in parkour.
That's a really difficult question because I feel like as a child we were always doing parkour. We never knew what we were doing. It's just when somebody puts a label on something, you're like, oh, now I can say this is when I started because this is when they put the label on it. It's like you don't need a timestamp to when you start something. You could have always been training for what they inevitably call something. You know what I mean? That
Right.
you define as yourself.
Okay.
So I guess I was always training for it. Always climbing trees. Taught myself how to ride my own bike. Like pretty much was into everything.
Okay.
So soccer, baseball, basketball, everything.
Right.
My mom was always keeping us busy, and I don't know. I just love movement. It wasn't any one particular sport. I just love running and jumping and doing whatever I could.
So you appreciate every sport.
Yeah.
And at what point though did you say, you know what, I'm really good at what they call now parkour?
I see. That's another thing that I see a little differently than most people. I don't see any good, bad, this or that. People are within stages of their life, I kind of feel. And this is why I branch out not just my sports realms into my real life realm, because everything is your life. You know, what you live is who you are, essentially. You know what I mean? And if I'm living these sports, then they essentially are who I am. They provide all the analogies that I need to understanding other things outside of the sport that I'm training in. You know what I mean? Once you see that everything is really everything, then you can really see that you can adapt every technique within every factor of your life. And it really rounds you as an individual, and it makes you see the broader spectrum of things, you know, the totality instead of a narrow alleyway. You get what I'm saying?
For sure.
When you have a broader view, a perspective about, you know, everything as a whole, you really have much more appreciation. And then you kind of say, you know, forget about being the best I could be, or not like being the best there is, should I say, not the best I could be. And you start focusing more upon the best that you can be. And then when you start focusing on the best you could be, being better than anybody else becomes irrelevant because you're having so much fun engulfed in your flow state of your sport. And I say flow state because I feel like every athlete encounters a flow state where they're not thinking, but they're creating and doing a lot. There's this realm or this like area, I guess, how would I say, there's this state of mind that you get to where you're one with your environment and you're in tune with your own vibration to the point that you can articulate your creativity and your imagination within your own painting, and your painting becomes your reality.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Makes 100% sense.
Okay.
Now, for you see it as this is an expression of lifestyle, and as I continue to learn this process and get my flow, it's going to teach me about my own life.
Exactly.
And continue to progress as a human being.
Yes.
That's how you see your sport.
Yes.
Now, with that in mind, how do you look at your life right now? Do you think, hey, there's so much more to progression, or do you just kind of keep doing it and see what happens? Is there any defined goal here, or is it, hey, I'm just going to keep doing what I do and push it as hard as I can?
Well, no, actually, there is no defining goal, because once you set a goal, you're setting an exact expectation of direction, and sometimes your direction might be guided in a different path. Like it's like you ever been rock climbing and not climbing a route, climbing just finding your own path. Sometimes you have to say, okay, I wanted to go this way, but it didn't work out that well, so I need to redirect.
Yes.
When you set a goal, sometimes you get so stuck on that direction that you don't see the redirections that are needed in order to get to the end destination.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Totally get it.
So I try not to set too long-term goals. I just try to set my direction per se. Don't really label any expectations or like specifics of it. Mm-hmm. I just say, hey, look, I just want to be the best I could be, and I'm going to focus on the now, because if I'm too busy living in the future or too busy living in the past, then I'm not making the most of my present.
Yes.
And if you're not in your present, then what are you doing really? Because you're inevitably overcomplicating things, and that's kind of what as human beings do. And then you start creating fears. Like when people see me doing parkour and they see me attempting a jump, they're like, aren't you scared of falling? And then at first, when I first started, you are fearful. You have this self-preservation acting within you. It's like, oh, are you sure you have this? Like, it's like, are you sure you got this? And through the analogies of repetition and constantly doing little jumps that, you know, start getting bigger and bigger and bigger of grander scheme, you know what I mean? Because you had all these things to add up for your analogies, and you say, yeah, I am confident I could do this. So you have to overcome this whole self-preservation deal and say, no, my confidence is here, I got this. But when you start thinking of all these complex things, you're too busy living in the future saying, well, what if I do fall? what if is living in the future. You don't need to be living in the future. You need to worry about what you need to do in order to survive. And when you start shifting your focus from what ifs to, oh, I remember when this happened, like living in the past, when you say I remember, or what if, that's present, or that's past, or that's future, and you want to be in the present, in the now. So when you start focusing and shifting your attention upon, okay, all right, I need to run this fast, I need to step here, I need to do this, and then I need to jump like this. And once you focus on what you need to do to complete the task, your skills will meet the opportunity at hand, and that's what your flow state essentially is. When your skills can meet the opportunity at hand, and you can seize the moment with your confidence and your attention and your focus, ultimately in one moment.
Right. No, I agree with you 100%. Now, looking at that, looking at your beliefs and what your values are, do you find that because you think that way, it gives you maybe a little bit more momentum than a lot of the people right now in your sport? Because this is why I say that. You're getting a lot of awards. You're making waves in the industry. You know, there's a lot of people, and you have your own move, this dangerous parkour move that you had invented. You know, you were on the MTV series. You're planning on going over to Europe to compete, and you're doing a lot of these things, which are very impressive, and not a lot of people get to do them. So do you think because of these ideals and these values and these beliefs that you have, that,
most definitely,
that will take you a lot further?
Yes, your thoughts shape your entire life. The
Thoughts
way you
things.
think about it, your intention for doing something, it shapes everything.
Absolutely.
Everything that you encounter, the vibe that you represent or like you portray. Because I'm a deep believer in vibrations, and you know when you get a bad vibe about, I got a bad vibe about that person. Yeah. It's for a reason, because
you can feel it.
You can feel the resonance between the two individuals when they co-connect. That's why we're such social beings. It's because we like to conflict with our vibrations and stay in tune. Whenever you meet somebody and you're like, wow, I really feel a connection with this person, it's because you guys are harmonious together, and you guys become actually in tune with each other, and you guys have an understanding that's deeper than linguistics or anything that's body language sorts. It's on a deeper level. With that being said, going back to what you're saying about me having an advantage, I think I definitely have it. I wouldn't say advantage. I just have an outlook that presents bigger and better possibilities, because I see that anything is truly possible within anything. And when you try to define something, it goes back to the definition of things. You're putting a limitation. How can you say something is there's endless possibilities, infinite possibilities, when you put a limitation on it? It's almost contradictory. It's a very static world. I mean, if we had those limits like you talk about, there would be no movement. You know what I mean? Yes. It's a good. I'm not sure if you know the basketball coach John Wooden. Have you heard of him before? No. He had an interesting philosophy where they wouldn't watch the other teams practice, and they wouldn't analyze tapes. They would do the best they could do. Yes. And that's what they would focus on. And because they did that, he had championship teams year after year, and he broke all sorts of records because of the amount of wins in a row he would have. Yes. You know, so the same idea where, hey, let's do as good as we can, and if we focus on the best we can be, all of that will translate to a lot of success. You know, whatever your definition of success is. Absolutely. Right. And that's where I was going to go with the whole mind state and the analogies as well. Analogies is very important in multi-sports. Like our generation should be moving to a multiverse in a multitude of sports and movements, not just one discipline. It's not about one discipline anymore. We need to evolve past that one, just being defined to one thing. You need to be like an athlete that is an athlete on all levels. Right. You know what I mean? That can adapt, because that's ultimately what makes an athlete, is an individual that can adapt. For sure. And uses confidence and focus to produce his creativity amazingly. You know what I'm saying? We're seeing this more in a lot of athletes, you know, and I have a few in mind that come to mind right away. One is George St. Pierre, who is a gymnast, he is a wrestler, he is a striker, the list goes on, and because of that, and taking all of those things and putting them in one, he's a very efficient fighter. Johnny Corthius, you know, one of our athletes, he is a gymnast, he does parkour, he jumps out of planes, he has a wingsuit, he does biking, and all of these sports help him be so well-rounded that it translates in every other sport. He's good at things because he's able to take little pieces from everything. I think it's really important. Absolutely. Like you're saying about George St. Pierre, what I find the problem with us now, I think where we need to start branching out is, don't just be too focused on movement in general. I think it's the totality of increasing the individual's intelligence within a broader spectrum of awareness. So like within mathematics, within this, within that. Physics definitely applies in sports. You need to learn how centrifugal force works, how this energy is dispersed, how how to conserve your efficiency. Okay, all these things apply. It's just we haven't found the right path to connect everything. And ultimately, we are the connectors. We connect what analogies will fit into our realities to create what we want. You know what I'm saying? And being content in whatever state we want to be in. You know, 'cause your thoughts are what you're living.
Yes, I'm a big believer in thoughts are things. You know, there's a few. Some people talk about, you know, what you think will come to pass. But without action, without movement in this case, talking about movement, nothing really happens. You always have to be moving, but continue to put into your subconscious those things that you're looking forward to.
Absolutely.
And that will always come back and help you learn from every situation you have in your life. And I think we're thinking along the same lines.
Yes,
you know?
absolutely.
And because of that, you're making waves doing great things. You know, you're doing what you love. You're learning from that and applying it to your life. I have an opportunity to do what I love, and all those experiences I get to apply to my life. And then we get to talk. And because of this conversation, we get to learn even more. And that's a beautiful thing. You know, that's one of my favorite things in life, and that's why I like doing this Novo Nation, is because I get to talk, get to learn, and from that, all the future you learn so much more. Listen, Daniel, thank you for coming and doing this with us.
Thank you.
It's been incredible. I wish we had more time to do it with you.
Yes.
We'll have to do it again, though. Next time we're down here.
Definitely. Or if I'm up there.
Absolutely. Yeah, come up to Canada, man.
Definitely.
Do it.
Love you. You guys way beautiful up there.
Yeah? No, we'd love to have you.
Different, maybe contrast.
Totally different. Totally different. Come during the summer.
Appreciate it, both.
Come during the summer.
I'm going to take you up on that. I'm serious.
Hey, if you ever come up, let me know. We've got a place for you.
It's been an honor talking with you, definitely.
Awesome, buddy. Hey, appreciate it. We'll keep in touch.
Definitely. Thanks.
Awesome.